other thing, he's left-handed, and the Dodgers against left-handed starters are 3-6. Then tomorrow night, the concluding game of the series, Dave Bush, a right-hander going from Milwaukee against John Eli. We'll have the ball game coming up for you right after this.
The Dodgers continue their homestand tonight. Second game of the series with the Milwaukee Brewers. Billingsley and Davis. First pitch upcoming. Let's get to our Lexus pursuing perfection. And we're going to go to one of the hottest players, especially at the plate, Andre Ethier, pretty much leading everything in the National League.
If you have a kid and he hits left-handed, or if he hits right-handed, teach him how to hit left-handed and teach him Andre Ethier's swing. It's one of the prettiest in all of baseball. He's not a prototypical power hitter. He's just got such a beautiful swing. Boom. Puts the bat head through the hitting zone as good as anybody in the league, and he gets that sweet backspin on the ball, and that carries the ball out of the ballpark.
May go down as one of the better trades in Dodger history, the Milt Bradley for Andre Ethier. Can we throw out the word potential with Ethier?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, he's already there now. His potential is kind of limitless because he's already a good player, so now it's just a matter of how good he wants to be. And obviously, he's got Triple Crown numbers right now. He's tied for the league lead in average and home runs and leads the league in RBIs. But if you look at last year, he only hit 272. He's a better hitter than a 272 hitter. He hit a .93 against left-handed pitching. He's hitting over 400 this year.
One thing we don't talk about is him in the outfield because nobody really runs on him. He does really well. And, let's go to our poll question where you can vote, foxsportswest.com. How many home runs will Ethier hit this season? 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 or more. I'm just saying he's on pace for 56.
Yeah, I don't know if he can go 50 or more, but another way he can improve is he hit 22 of his home runs at home. This is a tough ballpark to hit a home run.
First pitch upcoming, Chad Billingsley and Doug Davis, and Vince Scully has the call next.
Dodger Baseball on Prime Ticket is brought to you by your Southern California Hyundai dealers. Want more MPG? Hyundai has it, with 7 models that get 30 miles per gallon or more. By Shakey's, who pitched the perfect game in 1965? Go to Shakey's.com/trivia. By AT&T TV, high-speed internet, home phone, and wireless. Visit att.com or call 1-800-PIC-ATT for details. By Southwest Airlines, go to southwest.com. Grab your bag. It's on. And by Wells Fargo. Together, we'll go far. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Wednesday evening to you, wherever you may be. Welcome to Dodger Stadium. It is a splendid evening for a ball game. For yesterday's game, just a nightmare that the Dodgers have washed away. For Milwaukee, a point to start a move on the St. Louis Cardinals, and we'll see how it happens. For the Brewers, they are a 500 ball club on the road, and surprisingly, they are 4 games under 500 at home. The Dodgers are doing okay. They're 7-4 here, but they're 4-11 away from Dodger Stadium. Here's the visiting Brewers with Ricky Weeks, followed by Carlos Gomez in center, Ryan Braun in left field, Prince Fielder at first base, Casey McGee at third. Jim Edmonds returns to the starting lineup. Edmonds will play right field. Alcides Escobar, the shortstop. George Kotaras will be behind the plate, and Doug Davis, the veteran left-hander, on the mound. On the mound for the Dodgers, it would be Chad Billingsley, the 25-year-old right-hander, comes in with a record of 2-1. This would be his 6th start of the year. He is 2-0 in 5 games in his career against the Brewers, and he picked up a victory, shutting them down with an earned run average of 2.3, coming off a win against Pittsburgh. So Chad Billingsley, with a perfect 2-0 lifetime mark, will put it on the line tonight against the Milwaukee Brewers. For the Dodgers, set behind Chad Billingsley, we'll take a look at the boys with the leather, and it's Johnson, Kemp, and Ethier in the outfield. Blake Carroll, Belliard, and Loney on the infield. The battery of Billingsley and Martin. The latest report about the Dodgers is the fact that Manny will play in Single A tomorrow. He'll have Friday off, and then Manny Ramirez figures to be in the starting lineup against Colorado Saturday night. The report is he feels fine, and they're expecting Jeff Weaver to come off the DL very shortly. So with that in mind, we'll start, and Ricky Weeks will check in to lead things off against Billingsley. Weeks has been hit by pitch 5 times already this year, and he probably bangs the first pitch into left field for a base hit. So Ricky leading off with a single. Last night, the first 2 batters reached on a walk to Weeks and a single to Gomez, and then Clayton Kershaw settled down to retire the next 3, then took his lumps in the 2nd inning. So here is Weeks with a leadoff single to left, and the batter now will be Carlos Gomez. Kershaw, forgetting yesterday except to use it as a learning tool, sitting quietly in the Dodger dugout chewing his gum. And Gomez, right-hand batter, backs off. The pitch is low, ball 1. Beautiful evening. The temperature 68 degrees. Gomez hitting .282. He has 2 home runs, half a dozen runs batted in, couple of bunt singles. Right-hand hitter with Ryan Braun on deck. Throw to first, and Weeks diving back to the bag. Ricky has stolen 2, been caught 1. Carlos Gomez is 6 for 6 in stolen bases, and so is Ryan Braun. So the speed is atop the lineup. Here's the 1-0 pitch coming up. And Gomez swings, grounds it foul outside of third down the line. 1 ball and 1 strike the count to Carlos Gomez. Gomez looking down to third to Brad Fisher to see if there might be a sign. Ricky Weeks over at first with 1 out. Billingsley out of his stretch, a look, ready, and delivers, and there's a ball hit into left field for a base hit. Down to second base goes Weeks. So for Chad Billingsley, the first two batters greet him with base hits to left field. Looks like Gomez went down to get that thing and just pulled it up in the air and wafted it into left field. So Weeks a line drive single, fly ball single by Gomez, and now look out. A one-man wrecking crew is Ryan Braun, especially against the Dodgers here at Dodger Stadium. Among other things, he is 13 for 26 with 11 runs batted in here. He had a double and a triple last night. So Braun hitting .356, but absolutely wearing the Dodgers out. 2 on, nobody out, and he lines one to left for a base hit. Johnson up with it, and they go station to station, and the bases are loaded, nobody out for Prince Fielder. So Chad Billingsley shaken to his roots, not to mention what it's doing to Rick Honeycutt, Joe Torre and company, as Weeks singles to left, Gomez singles to left, and Braun singles to left. Nobody out, and the batter will be Prince Fielder. It's like that old joke of the pitching coach says to the catcher, "How's he doing?" And the catcher says, "I don't know. I haven't caught any yet." And all three hitters single to left, and here comes Big Fielder. We had mentioned last night that Fielder, according to the Milwaukee broadcasters who told us, has a very sore left hand. Well, it wasn't evident in the second inning last night when he hit a 2-run home run, but it was only his third this year. So Billingsley delivers, and the pitch is off the plate. Ball 1, 1-0. With all of his power, Prince Fielder has only one grand slam. He had that in Cleveland. So Prince hitting .232 with 11 runs batted in, but he has a chance to get rich in a hurry. The 1-0 pitch is taken off the plate. Ball 2. It is Cinco de Mayo, so there is a definite Mexican taste to the game tonight, even to the plate umpire, Alfonso Marquez, umpiring for over 11 years. Alfonso was born in Mexico, lives in Arizona, the first ever Mexican-born umpire to make it to the big leagues. 2-0 pitch on the way, and that's lined into left center field for a base hit. Johnson over to cut it off. Weeks and Gomez score. Stopping at second is Braun, and before the chairs are warm, it's 2-0 Brewers. So Fielder, a line drive into left field. Nice play by Reed Johnson to hold it to a single. 2 RBIs. So now first and second, nobody out, and Casey McGee coming up. For Billingsley, he's made 8 pitches, and he's given up 4 hits and 2 runs. And here's McGee, the right-hand hitting third baseman, batting .304, and he promptly hits a fly ball to deep center. Back goes Kemp to the wall, reaches up and makes a great catch. Tagging up at second and moving over to third is Ryan Braun on a long out. So Kemp makes a great play going into the wall for the only out of the inning. So a very discouraging start for Chad Billingsley. That thing almost carried out of the park. And Kemp made a great catch. Moving over to third goes Braun. And with runners at first and third and 1 out, the batter now will be Jim Edmonds. So a good play by Kemp. Edmonds has been in 17 games. He's hitting .298 with a home run and 5 runs batted in. He hasn't had a chance to play on this road trip, but he's in there tonight. And of course, Edmonds has had a marvelous career, and he's not finished yet. Jim, born in Fullerton, lives in Yorba Linda, went to Diamond Bar High School, came up to the big leagues in '93 with the Angels. Edmonds, left-hand hitter, and takes in the dirt. Ball 1, 1-0. Edmonds will be 40 years old the middle of June. He's been a backup outfielder for Milwaukee, and they're delighted to have him. Ryan Braun down the line from third. Prince Fielder away from first with 1 out. 2-0 in favor of the Brewers. Edmonds tries to uppercut a pitch, fouls it at the plate, and they count 1 ball and 1 strike. Jim has had some big years. He's had as many as 42 home runs twice in his career. He's had as many as 111 runs batted in, and he's piled up 383 career home runs. The 1-1 pitch, Edmonds takes a strike, and the count 1-2. In 2008, he split between the Padres and the Cubs, and he had some pretty good numbers, especially against right-hand pitching. So Billingsley down 2-0 first inning. The 1-2 pitch, Edmonds takes very high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. He was in 142 games for the Cardinals 5 years ago. He was in 117 games for the Cardinals 3 years ago. Last year, 26 with the Padres, 80 some odd with the Cubs. Edmonds takes low and away. So 3-2 the count to Edmonds. We'll see about running Fielder at first with 1 out. In looking at Edmonds' numbers, he has struck out 15 times and he has walked 8. 2-0 Brewers, first inning. Billingsley looks down the barrel to get a sign, now out of a stretch. Checks the runners at the corner. Fielders does not go, and the pitch is foul back. So if you joined us a little late, Ricky Weeks single to left, Carlos Gomez single to left, Ryan Braun single to left to load the bases. Prince Fielder single to left to drive in 2. McGee hit a long fly ball to center. Matt Kemp made a fine play with Braun taking third after the catch and Fielder holding. So with 1 out, a 3-2 pitch to Jim Edmonds, swung on and foul back again. Edmonds, a power hitter. He struck out as many as 167 times when he hit 42 home runs, paying that kind of a price. All right, Jim hanging in there, 3-2. Billingsley looks down to get a sign. Alcides Escobar is out on deck. And the 3-2 pitch to Jim Edmonds. Billingsley delivers, swung on and foul back again over the backstop screen. A 94-mile-an-hour fastball. So in the first 8 pitches that Billingsley made, he gave up 4 hits. Now this has been an 8-pitch at bat to Jim Edmonds. Fielder at first, Braun at third, 1 out. 2 runs in the first inning. Billingsley a long look in. Now Chad out of his stretch. Edmonds waiting at the plate, and instead a throw to first. Fielder has not been going on the 3-2 pitch. Ed Sadar, the first base coach, over to say something to him. So Fielder taking a rather quiet lead. Not been involved in a stolen base this year. Edmonds waiting. 3-2. There goes Fielder. The pitch is low. Gets away from Martin. Coming to the plate is Braun to score. It is 3-0 Milwaukee, and there are runners at first and second with only 1 out. So ball 4 got away from Russell Martin. Braun alertly comes in with Fielder going. And for Jim Edmonds, he draws a big walk. So we'll wait and see the scoring. Wild pitch, pass, ball. Remember, Fielder was going, so you're only accounting for Ron Braun making it to the plate just ahead of a tag by Chad Billingsley, who went down heavily on his side and rolled over. So Fielder is now at second. We're checking as to whether they might have, they only have 1 out on the scoreboard, but Edmonds is not there. So it's going to be that Edmonds had struck out instead of walking. So Jim out on strikes, and on the wild pitch, Braun scored, and down to second went Fielder. Billingsley ready, comes back to the plate, and that's lifted into the gap. On the dead run is Kemp, and can't get it. So scoring easily is Fielder, and Escobar is on his way to a stand-up triple, and the sky is falling on the Dodgers. Down in the Dodger dugout, we don't see anyone going on the phone. We do see Rick Honeycutt making his way out to the mound. So in the inning, Weeks scored, Gomez scored, Braun scored, Fielder scored. So it's a 4-run inning. We'll have to add one to the scoreboard out there in right field. So Chad Billingsley having an awful first inning after Clayton Kershaw had an awful second inning. So Fielder in the dugout talking to Willie Randolph, carrying over the 4th run. And Escobar then follows with the long triple. So for Clayton Kershaw, you talk about empathizing with Chad Billingsley. He has been there and then some. So Escobar down the line from third. Escobar really catches your eye the little bit that he has played here. So the pitch now to George Gutierrez, and that's a strike, and the count 0-1. George is a Greek Canadian. He's from Scarborough, Ontario in Canada. Went to Connors State College. Left-hand hitting catcher, takes inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. So it's 4-0 in favor of the Brewers here in the first inning. Gutierrez, the number 8 hitter in the lineup, with Doug Davis on deck. Now the 1-1 pitch on the way. Billingsley delivers, and that's foul back. 1-2. So we had 4 consecutive singles. We had a wild pitch on a strikeout. We have a triple and a 4-0 Milwaukee lead. Of course, the Dodgers, they have to look at the paper and say, as Braun and Weeks rest in the Milwaukee dugout, that the opposing pitcher has an earned run average of almost 9, and that's Doug Davis, and Doug is out on deck, ready to be the number 9 hitter to go to the plate. So Chad Billingsley has given up 4 runs, 5 hits, committed a wild pitch. He has 1 strikeout. And the 1-2 pitch on the way, foul back. For the Dodgers, no chance to catch up last night when they were down 9-0 in the second inning. Billingsley working very hard, ready to make his 26th pitch of the inning. Chad out of a stretch. And the 1-2 pitch on the way is swung on and missed. And mercifully, that's the end of the inning. The sarcastic cheer goes up. The Brewers get 4. And at the end of half an inning, Brewers 4, Dodgers coming up. And we go to the bottom of the first inning as veteran Doug Davis begins to tune up. And here is the Dodger lineup that will try to get back in the game. Reed Johnson leading off in left field. Russell Martin, Andre Ethier, Matt Kemp, and James Loney. Casey Blake. Then the only difference tonight, instead of Blake DeWitt, Ronnie Belliard at second base. Jamie Carroll at short, and Chad Billingsley on the mound. On the mound for Milwaukee, Doug Davis, who is 0-3, an earned run average of 8.8. He's coming off last year where he was 9-14, and his first pitch now to Reed Johnson in for a strike, and they count 0-1. Davis is so slow in his delivery, slow, deliberate, that he looks like sometimes he's winding up underwater. He looks in, gets a sign, rocks and turns, lifts the right leg, then comes back with a pitch on the outside corner, and the count 0-2. Doug is 6'4", 215-pounder, out of Sacramento, went to Community College of San Francisco. The veteran turns, ready, and the strike 2 pitch to Reed Johnson, and that's taken low and inside, ball 1. They are now going to change part of the first inning. When Jim Edmonds struck out, and we weren't even sure at that when he went down the line, we didn't see the call, and we said the ball got away from Martin. They ruled it a wild pitch. They've now changed it. The 1-2 pitch in the dirt, and they count 2 balls and 2 strikes. The official scorer will now give Martin a passed ball. So the passed ball scored Ryan Braun from third. 2-2 the count to Reed Johnson. Doug Davis first came up to the Rangers in 1999, and his next pitch fouled away by Reed. Johnson hitting .271, 4 runs batted in, and in his career pretty much a .300 hitter against left-hand pitching. Doug Davis had 3 strange years for the Brewers back in 04, 5, and 6. He was .500 each year. Here's the 2-2 pitch on the way to Johnson, and Reed looks, and that's ball 3. In 04, he was 12-12. In 05, he was 11-11. In 06, he was 11-11. Then he broke through in 07, 13-12. Doug looks down the barrel, getting a sign. Now the 3-2 pitch on the way. Fastball lifted to center. Going back for it is Carlos Gomez to pick it off. So Johnson a fly ball to center, 1 away. And we'll set the Brewers defensively for you with Braun, Gomez, and Edmonds and his 8 gloves, 8 gold ones in right field. McGee, Escobar, Weeks, and Fielder, and the battery of Doug Davis and George Kataris. So 4-0 Brewers, 1 out first inning. And Russell Martin coming up. They are looking up towards this area. I don't know whether our overhead lights are bothering somebody. I don't know. But they're looking up this way. I don't believe so. It might be the visiting booth where a light is on. Okay, 1 away, and here's Russell Martin. And Davis delivers, and the first pitch outside, ball 1. It was one of the more dramatic games, I think, that we have seen in quite a while, and that was in April of 2008. Martin, a ground ball to the left that's short. Escobar can't get it. Russell makes a turn and holds on with a single. So with 1 out, Martin singles to center, and that'll bring up Andre Ethier. You may or may not remember that Doug Davis was diagnosed with thyroid cancer in March of 2008. The night before he was going into surgery, he pitched against the Dodgers over in Arizona. He beat the Dodgers 10-5, and every pitch had an emotional reaction to it in that ballpark. A lot of people rooting for him. He got the game, had the surgery, and he's back to working, but not before he partnered with the D-backs to create the 49 Fund as Ethier takes a strike. The 49 Fund assists families with cancer. And the goal is to raise $49,000, increments of 49 cents, $4.90, etc. 49. And eventually it figures to help thousands of young patients and their families. Ethier takes low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Andre, as you know, has been on a tear, hitting .360, 9 home runs, 26 runs batted in. So Ethier trying to lead the Dodgers back here. It's 4-0 Brewers in the first inning. Andre atop the heap, tied or leading in a lot of offensive categories, takes a look at another strike, and they count 1-2. Against Doug Davis, and looking it up, you see that Ethier is hitting .333 with a home run against the left-hander. Andre tied for the league batting title at .360. He's hitting .481 with runners in scoring position, and he takes low and off the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here at Dodger Stadium, Ethier has always been very popular, but now he's really on it, hitting .435 at home. 2-2 pitch coming up, and Ethier swings, little roller wide of first, down to second for a force play, goes fielder. The throw back to Davis not in time. So Ethier grounds into a force play, 3-6. Nice play by Prince Fielder. And with 2 down, Matt Kemp coming up. Kemp made a fine play on that ball hit by Casey McGee in the first inning. So Matt hitting .299, 7 home runs, 20 runs batted in. He had a single and a double plus a walk last night, and hitting .299, right on the edge of the desired 300. So Kemp checking in. Let's see what he's done against Davis. Doug looks at first, bends a big curveball in for a strike, and the count 0-1. Matt Kemp is hitting .435 against Doug Davis, including a home run. Davis, left foot on the rubber, hands it aside. Gutierrez wigwagging a few signs out from behind the plate. 4-0 Brewers. They are the first 4 men singled. Weeks, Gomez, Braun, and Fielder. Here's the strike 1 pitch, and that's low. 1 ball, 1 strike. They had a strikeout and a pass ball to score a 3rd run of the inning. And then Escobar tripled in Fielder. And just like that, Billingsley was in a hole, 4-0. The 1-1 pitch is a line drive base hit into left center. Almost got a little bit of Tim Tashida as it went on out into center field. The second base umpire just did get out of the way of that. So a base hit by Kemp, who wears Davis out. That puts runners at first and second with 2 down. And James Loney coming up. James Loney might not be hitting .435 like Kemp, but he is hitting .385 against Doug Davis. Loney with a little 4-game hitting streak. Checks in batting .330, 2 home runs, 17 runs batted in. So Ethier and Kemp are out on the lines with 2 out. Davis out of a stretch, checks ready and deals, and gets the outside corner for a strike, and the count 0-1. Last year, the Brewers won 2 out of 3 here, and the Dodgers won 2 out of 3 in Milwaukee. Brewers 6.5 games back of the Cardinals. Dodgers 5.5 back of the Padres. And Loney lifts one into left field, coming up to play it on a bouncy Braun. Scoring on the play is Ethier. So the Brewer lead is now 4-1 as the Dodgers try to fight their way back. And a base hit, the 3rd of the inning, producing a run. So James Loney, fly ball single to left. Braun gets it back in. And the batter now will be Casey Blake. So a 4-0 lead, in all honesty, does not figure to be enough of a lead for Davis, not based on the way he has been pitching. And here is Casey Blake. Davis out of a short set up around the letters, breaking ball in for a strike. So in the inning, Martin a 1-out single, Ethier forced him. Kemp singles, Loney singles. It's 4-1 Milwaukee. And Casey Blake hitting .262. 3 home runs, 15 runs batted in. Doug Davis set, the veteran ready, and the strike one pitch is a fastball low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Casey Blake is hitting .333 against Davis. So every time he looks up, there's a formidable foe at the plate. Davis, last game in San Diego, he lasted only 4 innings and gave up 5 earned runs. The left-hander's 1-1 pitch is swung on. That's smoked into left center field. That's going to score 1. Blake will hold with a long single. Stopping at third is Loney. The Brewer lead is cut to 4-2, and as we said, a 4-0 lead isn't anything in the hands of Doug Davis. Not anymore. So the Dodgers quite confident, even though they're in a hole, as Blake a base hit and a run batted in. Loney is now at third. Kemp brought the run home. And the batter will be Ronnie Belliard. How has Belliard done? Well, in looking at the past to see about the present, Belliard is hitting .286 against Davis with a home run. And Doug's curveball is a slow roller back to the box. Davis has it, throws to fielder in time to end the inning. So the Brewers got 4, Dodgers come back with 2, and at the end of an inning, Milwaukee 4 and Los Angeles 2. Milwaukee gets 4, Dodgers come back with 2, and it's 4-2 Brewers, and we're just going to the second inning. Doug Davis followed by Ricky Weeks and then Carlos Gomez as Davis checks in at the plate. And Billingsley back in the game now, going to work. Chad into the windup, and his first pitch of the second inning is high, ball 1. Prince Fielder down in the Milwaukee dugout was going when the strike 3 pitch was a pass ball that got away from Russell Martin. The 1-0 pitch in for a strike. Well, since he was in motion on the pitch, he is credited with a stolen base. Well, how about this? In the last 2 seasons, including tonight, he now has 3 stolen bases. As Davis lifts one foul, Loney comes through the first base coaching box and makes the catch 1 away. So Prince Fielder in the last 2 years, including tonight, has 3 stolen bases. All 3 against the Dodgers. Tonight, back in July of last year in Milwaukee, and August of last year at Dodger Stadium. So the batter now is Ricky Weeks, who led off the game with a base hit. Ricky hitting .257, 4 home runs, 14 runs batted in. Had 7 years with the Brewers. He was a second pick in the draft. He has had spurts of being an excellent player. The pitch in the dirt gets to the backstop, ball 1. He's also had several injuries, and one of them a recurring wrist injury, so that slowed him up. So he has not quite been the player they thought he would be, but he still has a lot of talent. He takes off the plate, ball 2, 2-0 the count to Ricky Weeks. Ricky out of Daytona Beach, went to Southern University, idolized Roberto Alomar and Ozzie Smith growing up. 2-0 pitch on the way, swung on, lifted up into that blue. Moving to his left is Andre Ethier, trotting over some more, and makes a two-handed catch for the out. 2 down, second inning, and Carlos Gomez, who singled to left, came around to score in that wild first inning, coming up. Tomorrow night, the concluding game of the series, and it'll be right-hander Dave Bush against the Dodgers youngster John Eli. Gomez, solid player, waiting, right-hand hitter, a check swing comebacker, so a very easy inning for Chad Billingsley. 1, 2, 3 on a minimum number of pitches. So at the end of an inning and a half, Brewers 4, Dodgers 2. And then Reed Johnson. Families here, youngsters of all age. We're delighted to celebrate Cinco de Mayo with them. And left-handed Davis ready, delivers, snaps the first pitch outside and high. His fastball is 83. 1 ball and no strikes to Jamie, hitting .267. Now the 1-0 pitch on the way. The right-hand hitter takes a strike. Jamie has done a very solid job. He was hired not to play every day, but of course with Rafael Furcal going down and on the DL, Jamie has certainly made his share of contribution. The 1-1 pitch on the way. Davis breaks one off low. Ball 2, 2-1 the count. They're in the top of the third inning down south, and the Padres rolling along in high gear, leading Colorado 1-0 in the third inning. The Padres are 11-4 at home. The 2-1 pitch, that's in for a strike, and they count 2-2. Of course, the most remarkable thing would be in the American League, Tampa Bay. They are 10-1 on the road. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Davis ready, comes over the top off speed, and it's fouled away. Of course, it's hard to call off speed because Doug just doesn't throw hard anymore. As we told you, fastball is 83. That curveball was 69. 2-2 the count. Carroll waits. Billingsley on deck. 4-2 Brewers, bottom of the second inning. Here comes Davis. Another breaking ball pulled foul. And the count 2-2. So, Doug, quite a story of true grit to battle back from thyroid cancer and continue a career as a professional athlete. He was raised in the San Francisco Bay Area. The 2-2 pitch on the way. Davis' fastball is swung on and missed, and that fastball, they have 56 up on the meter, so we'll forget about that. They corrected to 81. But it is hard to call pitches after looking at guys throwing 95. But Carroll can tell you it's still tough to hit, and he strikes out. So one away, and here's Chad Billingsley. The first pitch to Chad, in for a strike. Growing up in the Bay Area, Doug was a fan of the Oakland A's, and wouldn't you know, he threw his first major league shutout in his career against the A's. Billingsley, a ground ball to Ricky Weeks, who throws him out, and just like that, 2 down in the second inning. You know, friends, a reminder, you can enjoy the excitement of Viva Los Dodgers every Sunday with the next Fiesta scheduled this Sunday, presented by State Farm and Bud Light. The party begins at 11 a.m., includes a pregame concert by Lutz Rios, and for tickets, be sure to visit Dodgers.com or call 866-DODGERS. Davis turns on the rubber now. Johnson waiting at the plate. Reed takes a strike, and the count 0-1. Reed in and out of the box, hitting .265, 4 runs batted in. Gets hit a lot. Since 2003, he's been hit 98 times because he doesn't bail at all. Takes a pitch inside. Davis, both feet on the rubber. Johnson back up to the plate. Now Doug turns, ready, and his 1-1 pitch on the way. Breaking ball off the plate. Ball 2, 2-1. He has a two-seam fastball, great changeup, a curveball, and a cutter. Doug ready. Now the 2-1 pitch on the way. Veteran delivers a fastball popped up into shallow left center field, and it's going to be caught by the speedy Carlos Gomez. Boy, can he run. Anybody who can play center while Jim Edmonds is still ready to play, you know can play it. And at the end of 2, it's 4-2 Brewers. Dodgers 2, the second inning in direct contrast to the first. First inning kind of raggedy. Milwaukee had 4 runs and 5 hits. Billingsley made 26 pitches. Then the Dodgers came back to get 2 runs on 4 hits. Davis made 23 pitches. But the second inning, Billingsley made only 7. And in the bottom of the second, Davis made only 13. So let's see what happens here in the third inning. Ryan Braun to lead it off and takes a strike. Braun continues to just personally tear up the Dodgers with his base hit in the first inning. He is 14 for 27 with 11 runs batted in. Ryan has 6 stolen bases and has stole third 3 times. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. He is still not what you'd call a fine outfielder, but he was a very poor third baseman. So they took him off that position, and he's holding up his end of the bargain for sure now. He probably hits one to center. Kemp going back, turns down, makes the catch. So Braun, a long out to Matt Kemp, 1 away. So Ryan from Mission Hills goes back into the dugout, and the batter will be Prince Fielder. Fielder singled in the first inning, picked up that rare stolen base. He was going, and the pitch got away from Russell Martin for a pass ball. And then eventually scored on the triple by Escobar. So the pitch to Prince in for a strike. Dodgers load up the right side. Belliard is 10 feet out in right field. Loney and Carroll flank him. So only Casey Blake, he's all alone between second and third. The strike one pitch, and that undresses Fielder well in on his shirt. 1-1. So the Dodgers with their triangle defense against Prince Fielder or something. 4-2 Brewers, top of the third inning. Now all of a sudden the Dodgers shift as Fielder pulls one on the ground, speared by Loney, underhands to Billingsley. Just before that pitch, Jamie Carroll went back across the bag to the shortstop side as Fielder grounded out. So 2 down. Carroll was the man in motion, and the batter will be Casey McGee. McGee really unloaded in the first inning. He hammered the ball to deep center, and Matt Kemp went back and made a fine catch going right into the pads. That was only the first out after all the base hits. Casey batting .301, 5 home runs, 21 runs batted in. Takes down and away. First thing you notice about that name McGee, it's not spelt the way you would normally spell it. McGehee. We talked about it last night. He is very much of a pull hitter, and when he pulls the ball, he is extremely confident. You know how they're always telling a hitter, look, don't pull all the time, go the other way. Well, with McGee, when he pulls a ball, he's hitting .500. 2-0 the count. 6'1", 195 from Santa Cruz, California. And the 2-0 pitch to Casey McGee in for a strike. 2-1. He's a real baseball man. 4 years ago, an hour after his Iowa Cubs finished a game against Salt Lake, Casey was married in a private ceremony in the Cub restaurant at Principal Park in Des Moines. 2-1 pitch on the way is ball 3, 3-1. So we've heard of, in the old days, ball players being married at home plate with teammates holding bats, and the bride and groom walk underneath the crossed bats. And he got married in the restaurant in the ballpark. 3-1 pitch, a comebacker, fielded there by Billingsley. Plenty of time to get the third out. So all of a sudden, Chad has retired 7 in a row, and at the end of 2.5, 4-2 Brewers. to Milwaukee. Russell Martin, Andre Ethier, and Matt Kemp checking in the third inning, and it's a milestone moment for Russell Martin. The right-hand hitting catcher waits. Doug Davis into the windup and comes to Marshall and gets a strike, and the count 0-1. 4 years ago today, Russell Martin made his major league debut against the Brewers, and he went 2 for 4. He takes a pitch low and inside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Russell from East York, Ontario, Canada. The 1-1 pitch on the way, off speed and outside, ball 2. Martin at 5'11", a very stocky 225 and a workhorse. The 2-1 pitch on the way, and Martin fouls it away. He was in 145 games last year, 155 the year before, 151 the year before that. In those 4 years, he leads all major league catchers in games caught, 571. So Martin waiting 2-2. Davis into the windup. Veteran left-handed deals. Breaking ball grounded up the middle. Ricky Weeks in front of it and throws him out. So Martin taps to Weeks. 1 away in the third inning. Russell 1 for 2. For Martin, as he goes back to the dugout, he has been in all but 1 game. He's played in 26. This is the 27th game. So he's back to being the workhorse as usual. So with 1 out, bottom of the third, the batter is Andre Ethier. Hit into a force play and scored a run in the first inning. And the first pitch low, ball 1, 1-0. So the Dodgers, who've had their troubles against left-handers, they are 3-6 against left-hand pitchers. Went down to defeat last night against Chris Narverson. The 1-0 pitch hits Ethier. And so Andre grazed by the pitch and goes to first. For Ethier, the first time that he's been hit by a pitch this year. Check swing, got him on the forearm. So Andre's at first with 1 away, and Matt Kemp coming up. I would guess if you're going to be nailed by a pitch, you would just as soon have Doug Davis do the pitching. So Doug now facing Matt Kemp, who has worn him out. Kemp was hitting .435 when he singled and takes inside, ball 1. So for Matt, 11 for 24, including a home run. Shut down in his last 12 games after tearing the cover off the ball the first 14 games. Now the 1-0 pitch on the way. Kemp takes way off the plate. Ball 2, 2-0. Ethier has not been involved in a stolen base. You don't do too much running with a hitter like Kemp at the plate. Kemp waiting. Out of his stretch goes Davis. Ethier short lead. And the next pitch, breaking ball, drops in for a strike. Little slider, and the count goes to 2-1. A lot of reasons not to run with Kemp. Of course, he strikes out a lot. He's also basically a fly ball hitter. He's only grounded into 2 double plays. Matt asking for time, and it's granted by Alfonso Marquez. 4 runs, 5 hits for the Brewers, 2 runs, 4 hits for the Dodgers. Davis ready, comes back, jumps it in there for a strike, and the count 2-2. Good straight changeup from Doug Davis. Now Matt back up. Davis a long look in, getting a sign. Now he's ready. A look over at Ethier, and the 2-2 pitch on the way is taken. Strike 3 called. Outside corner, and down goes Matt. So strikeout number 2 for Davis. Ethier holding at first, and that'll bring up James Loney. So Doug Davis working on Loney with 2 out. The Brewers leading 4-2. Loney had a base hit to drive in a run in the first inning. And Loney has had a lot of success against Davis. James 6 for 14. And waiting. Davis set, left-hander delivers, big spinner down and away, ball one, 1-0. Last year, left-handers hit .264 with 7 home runs against Davis. Right-handers hit .268 with 18 home runs against him. Now the next one, and that misses, ball 2, 2-0 the count. Two and 0 to James Loney, batting .336. It's 4-2 Brewers in the third. And the 2-0 pitch on the way. A big bounce is speared by Davis. Doug flips it over the first, and that's that. So a hit batter and a man left. That'll do it. And at the end of 3, Brewers 4, Dodgers 2. Now more than ever, the smart choice is CarMax by Toyota. Get a great deal on Toyota's full line of hybrid and fuel-efficient vehicles at your Toyota dealer today. And by Corona. The Brewers trying to hold on to a 4-2 lead as we go to the 4th inning. It'll be Jim Edmonds followed by Alcides Escobar and then George Kataris. So Edmonds, left-hand hitter, and here we go. Strike. Just before the Angels called Jim Edmonds up way back in 1993, he was playing in Vancouver. Another strike, 0-2. That year, he had some of the most memorable games for any player. He had a 6-hit game. He had 2 5-hit games. And he had an 8 RBI game, and he grounds one off Billingsley's glove. Chad throws him out. So they said when Edmonds first came up, he was pretty cocky. But when you look back and figure that he had 6-hit games, 2 5-hit games, an 8 RBI game, he had reason to be a little cocky when he came up from Vancouver. 1 away. Here's a kid we're looking at for the first time ever, and boy, he is really impressive. Alcides, A-L-C-I-D-E-S, Escobar. Ball 1. Last night, he made a throw from shortstop that really caught your attention. He's from Venezuela. Without manhandling the Spanish language, I think it's El Siguiente. That was his nickname in Venezuela. The English translation of El Siguiente is the next one. And the reason they call him the next one, they figure he's in the footsteps of some of the great shortstops in baseball history to come from Venezuela. Ball 2. For instance, Luis Aparicio, Dave Concepcion, Ozzie Guillen, Omar Vizquel. He has a tremendous arm, a lot of range, and very fast. Hits one in the air down the right field line. Ethier coming over to the line, makes a sliding attempt, can't make the play, and will slowly get up. So Andre gave it his best shot, risking injury, and gets a round of applause down there, especially for those people close enough to see that gamble. Full speed, knew he was getting close, decided to slide, to backhand it, and couldn't do it. Now we can show you the area that we could not see, and you watch his knees, and he'll be a little slowly getting up from that right knee, but he's okay. 2-2 the count to Escobar, who is promptly hit by the pitch. So Escobar is ticked. Ethier was hit, although I don't think anybody down in the field believes it was retaliation. Though Escobar doesn't say anything, he goes to first, and with one out, the batter George Kataris, the catcher. Now we know Escobar moves very well at shortstop. He's a youngster who doesn't really know the pitching yet, so he does not have a stolen base. However, in the minor leagues at AAA, he stole 42 out of 52. Billingsley delivers. Kataris fouls it away. 0-1 the count to George, hitting .231 with 2 home runs and a half a dozen runs batted in. Originally signed by the Padres and played for Greece in the 2004 Olympics. And if you've been reading the papers, watching television, you know Greece is in a lot of trouble. Throw to first not in time. Not only financially, but now a lot of violence. George waiting, 0-1 the count. Escobar cautious lead at first. That's in the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike. For Kataris, when he was in high school, Milliken Mills High School in Markham, Ontario, they played fast pitch softball. They didn't play baseball at all. So he had to learn baseball from scratch, and said he was at least 15 years old before he even started to play. Well, he's 27 now, or will be on the 16th. 1-1. There goes Escobar. The pitch is low. The throw is in time to get him. Strong throw by Russell Martin, and Escobar is hung out to dry. So Martin came up, got it accurately to Carroll, and the tag barely on Escobar before his foot hits the bag. The throw was there in plenty of time. The tag winds up, I think he tagged him on the right foot more than anything else. That made it even closer because he had tucked the right leg underneath him. So Escobar goes back as a rookie, doesn't say much, sits alongside Carlos Gomez. 3-1 to count to George Kataris, who had the thrill as a youngster. He played in the Connie Mack World Series. 3-2 the count. George, an even 690-pounder. And that's low and inside, ball 4. So that was a rather expensive gamble to run Escobar. So instead of first and second and 1 out, they have a runner at first with 2 out. And if nothing else, they'll get the pitcher out of the way. Doug Davis has never been much of a hitting pitcher. Popped up his first at bat tonight. He's 0 for 8. And Doug promptly pops this one up Loney going back, but angling over his belly yard to make the play. So Davis doesn't hang around, hit batter on a walk, but nothing else. And at the end of 3 1/2, 4-2 Brewers. Offering a variety of menu items and letting people choose any 3 for only $3 plus tax. And by your Southern California Ford dealers, where you'll find the new Transit Connect. Check it out at scforddealers.com. 4-2 in favor of Milwaukee. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. If you joined us late, the Brewers had 4 on the board in the first inning. The Dodgers came back with 2, and things have settled down dramatically since. So Davis will be working against Blake, Belliard, and Carroll in the bottom of the 4th inning. Breaking ball strike, 0-1 the count. KC hitting .271, 3 home runs, 16 runs batted in. Base hit to center in the first inning, picked up the ribby. 1 ball and 1 strike. We mentioned earlier about Doug Davis and his physical problems. That's fouled, 1-2. Davis had thyroid cancer, and according to the background notes, it says that both his mom and sister each had it and recovered just fine, as have millions of others. 1-2. 2-2 the count to Casey Blake. Tomorrow night, the concluding game of the series, David Bush and John Eli, and then Colorado. And by the way, they're leading San Diego 3-1 in the 4th inning. Colorado and Jim Tracy are just ahead of the Dodgers. They're 4 back of the Padres. Dodgers began the night 5.5 back. 3-2 to Casey Blake. Still up there. Waiting on deck, Ronnie Belliard, who I guess you'd agree made the play of the year so far. Three and two. Whoops. So down goes Blake. Strikeout number 3 for Doug Davis. And Belliard coming up. Remember Belliard going into left field on the little fly ball, making the over-the-shoulder catch, then having the presence of mind to turn around and throw it back towards first base just in time to get the double play. That was a remarkable moment. Ronnie takes ball 1. Hit back to the box in the first inning, batting .256. in there. 1-1. Of course, everybody saw the great catch by Willie Mays in the 1954 World Series. They play that over and over and over again. But the true baseball man talked about how Mays got the ball back to the infield in such a way. And there's confusion. Ricky Weeks goes out. Looked like he was calling all the way. You have a man with 8 gold gloves in right field. And Weeks went out there and then suddenly bailed out, and the ball dropped untouched. So Belliard will say thank you very much. But it looks like Ricky's taking charge and then looks to Edmonds. That's the old story with a second baseman hears footsteps. It's very hard to go out to the outfield with your eyes concentrating on the ball, knowing that the right fielder, who is a much bigger man, is racing in and you're liable to have a collision. So Davis gets a tough break, and Belliard gets himself a base hit. Jamie Carroll with a 1-ball, no strike count, checking now with Larry Boa. Chad Billingsley on deck. 1-0, and there goes Belliard on a hit-and-run foul ball. Tell you one thing, Belliard had a pretty good jump. If Carroll had failed to make contact, Ronnie was really running well. So again, both Belliard and Carroll checking with Boa. Belliard back to first, held on by Prince Fielder. 1-1 to Jamie. 4-2 Brewers, bottom of the 4th. Drops that curveball down and dirty, put a new one in play. So we've seen a curveball about in the 60s. We've seen a fastball at 83. That curveball was 70. As Davis says, I am not a 100% guy. I'm an 80% guy as far as energy expended. He is finesse. Of course, when your fastball is 83, you're either hammered out of the league or you are truly finesse. Two and one the count. Belliard not going, and a ground ball to short. Escobar quickly to Weeks, who double clutches and holds on to it. So the Force plays 6-4, and that'll bring up Billingsley.
Pitcher number 58, Chad Billingsley.
Chad Billingsley grounded out in the second inning. Chad 0 for 1. And ball one. You don't expect Jamie Carroll to do any running with the pitcher at the plate and 2 out. 1 ball and no strikes to Chad. That's a strike. Billingsley 1 for 8 of his 8 at-bats. He has struck out 3 times. Not bad for a pitcher to make contact less than 50%. And a line drive base hit into left field. So Billingsley a rope into left. 2 on, 2 out. And Reed Johnson coming up. So it's 4 runs, 5 hits for Milwaukee, 2 runs, 6 hits for the Dodgers. Now Johnson, who twice flied to center. Reed 0 for 2. Doug Davis with a lot of decisions in his long career. His record 90 wins and 100 losses during his 12 major league years. Going right after that curveball. 0-1. Doug's pitched for Texas and Toronto, Milwaukee and Arizona. Second tour of duty with the Brewers. 0-1. The word Brewers and Milwaukee certainly goes together. This would be the 40th anniversary of a Milwaukee Brewers team. But if you remember, Milwaukee came into the National League in the early 50s. That's when the Boston Braves moved from Boston to Milwaukee. Ground ball up the middle. Weeks backhands, has to go to first, and just did get him. Waiting on the call by Tim Timmons, and he was very deliberate before calling it. So no runs, 2 hits, 2 left, and at the end, it's 4-2. Milwaukee, it's been that way since the first inning. Ricky Weeks has been involved in the game. He led off with a base hit and scored a run in the first inning, flied to right, and then bailed off that fly ball into shallow right that gave Ronnie Belliard a base hit, only to come back and make a good play on the ball hit by Reed Johnson. So Ricky very much a part of this one. 4 runs, 5 hits for Milwaukee, 2 runs, 6 hits for the Dodgers. San Diego came right back to tie that game up with Colorado. They're 3-3 in the 4th inning. Dodgers have Colorado this weekend, and they have San Diego next weekend. So here's Ricky hitting .255, 4 home runs, 14 runs batted in. Ball 1. Ricky starting baseball at the age of 5, and he and Prince Fielder have known each other, I'm sure it seems like forever. 1-1. Ricky will be 28 in September, and he's known Fielder since he was 11. They were teammates on an AAU baseball team in Orlando, and here they are playing side by side in the big leagues for Milwaukee. Ricky got a scholarship to play baseball at George Washington University and Southern University, and he went to Southern. That's near Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Even as a little boy, Ricky had some pretty good coaching, because his dad made a habit of videotaping all of his at-bats through the years. Boy, that's devotion. He was a marvelous college baseball player. No surprise he made the big leagues. He won the Dick Hauser Award in 2003, and he was the second choice overall by the Brewers. He has very quick hands. You have to be awfully quick to move the bat around as much as he does and still catch up to a major league fastball. A little bit like Gary Sheffield, but he's not the hitter that Gary is. They call that movement of the bat the Weeks waggle. He started doing it in spring training of 2005. He was getting out in front of his swing, so that kind of slowed him down a little. 3-2. And ball 4. So Billingsley had retired 8 in a row, hit a batter, walked 1. Now starts off the 5th with a walk. Let's get you thinking. Prince Fielder set a Brewers record with 141 RBIs last year. Do you have any idea who holds the Dodger record for RBIs in 1 year? Well, Prince will be up in a minute, but first Gomez and Braun hit ahead of him. Gomez singled and hit back to the box. They have to keep an eye on Weeks, who has stolen 2 out of 3. Gomez with a couple of bunt singles this year, so Casey Blake has to play up even with the bag. Gomez hitting .288. There's the bunt, in the air, foul. 0-1 the count. Carlos Gomez looked like he was trying to bunt for a base hit. Taking another look down to third. Brad Fisher hanging out a sign for him. Gomez out of Santiago in the Dominican Republic. And he hits a fly ball to left. A little bit of a late start, but Reed Johnson is there. So Weeks holds 1 away, and Ryan Braun coming up. Say, be sure to join the Dodgers Friday for 60s night. The first 20,000 fans in attendance take home a Dodger coach's poster reminiscent of the days of the Rat Pack. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com or call 866-DODGERS. The 60s. The Dodgers had their heart broken in '62. They won perhaps the sweetest World Series in the history of the organization in '63 when they swept the Yankees. In 1965, they won the World Championship. In 1966, they got into the World Series and were completely shut down by Baltimore pitching. Those were the best part of the 60s. And then 67, 68, 69, it was like hitting yourself on top of the head. 0-2 the count to Ryan Braun, batting .358. 5 home runs, 23 runs batted in. Braun, the Rookie of the Year in 2007 from Mission Hills, went to the University of Miami, and the last we checked still lived in California in Granada Hills. He was the rare Rookie of the Year. He played third base Rookie of the Year in 2007, made 26 errors, and the next year he was in left field. 0-2. And line center, here comes Kemp. The ball almost took off on him. That thing was really hit hard. So Gomez a fly ball to left. Braun a line drive out to center. And here comes Prince Fielder. Fielder singled, stole a base, and grounded out. We'll repeat in case you missed it, so it is somewhat of a tantalizing note. By stealing second base, he was going while the pitch was being made, and it resulted in a pass ball charged to Russell Martin. Prince got the stolen base. It means that in the last 2 years, including this year, Prince Fielder has 3 stolen bases. Well, that's no surprise. Big man isn't going to run that much. He's 5'11" and at least 260. But what is interesting, all 3 stolen bases against the Dodgers. Strike. They do not load up the right side. Jamie Carroll is a man in motion. Right now he's on the shortstop side of the bag. Belliard playing out on the grass. 1-1 the count. Whoa, what a big swing. You know, it was 3 years ago Prince Fielder became the youngest player in Major League history to hit 50 home runs. He was 23 years, 139 days, and that broke the record of the great Willie Mays, who hit 50 when he was 24 years plus. 1-2. And a shot off the leg of Billingsley. He goes after it, but he will not have a play. Boy, that had to hurt a little bit. He's not going to rub, but he's limping a little bit as he goes out to the mound. So Prince Fielder gets a base hit literally and figuratively off Billingsley's leg, and he's not ready to pitch. Fastball up, and it hit him the back of the left leg. So Billingsley tried to get him, couldn't do it. They're going to allow him, I think, to throw a couple. Two on, 2 out. Chad's going to make another throw. And he's convinced everybody he's okay. So Casey McGee will be coming up. 2 on, 2 out, 4-2 Brewers. Casey out of Santa Cruz. He's a handy eye to have around. He can play first, second, third, or the outfield. He's playing third base in this series. Went out deep to center in the first inning. Hit back to the box in the third. McGee's wife, Sarah, gave birth to their first child a couple of years ago. And the baby's name, McHale. So McHale McGee. A lot of people said to just call the baby Double Mac. He'll be 28 in October. The Cubs tried to make him a catcher, but it didn't work. And a strike. Last year in October, Casey had arthroscopic surgery on his right knee. Loose fragments is what they said, but he had a lesion in his right knee, caused bone fragments to break away. So he's had to pay a price. 1-1 the count with 2 on and 2 out. Little roller. Coming a ways to get it is Belliard, and that's the inning. So Billingsley survives the inning and that comebacker off his leg. It's still 4-2 Brewers. Dodgers 4-2. Bottom of the 5th inning. Russell Martin will start it off. 1 for 2 tonight. Strike. Russ hitting .247. 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. Foul ball at the plate. 0-2 the count. Brewers scored 4 in the first inning on 5 hits. Dodgers came back with 2, and things have been pretty quiet ever since. Chad Billingsley, through his 5 innings, has made 77 pitches, but he made 26 in the first inning, so he's improved dramatically. So has Davis. 0-2. Fouled away. You would think, looking at Davis as he delivers, that the hitters would be able to time him. I mean, it's such a very slow, such a very deliberate delivery. Hesitation right there. But apparently he has a lot of movement on the pitches, but you don't need the speed gun for him at all. He's in the 60s, and I think the hardest he's thrown, he hit 83. Breaking ball, and that takes care of Martin. The public enemy won, the curveball. The key to the game, well, in the first inning, the Dodgers down 4-0, and they started with Martin getting a base hit. Eventually, Ethier would come in to score, and they got another base hit. Casey Blake knocked it in to get Kemp home. However, then Davis settled down, and the score has remained the same since the first inning. 4-2 Brewers. Here's Ethier, hit into a force play, hit by a pitch, scored a run. On the outside corner, 0-1 the count. Davis came into the game with 24 strikeouts and 10 walks. So more strikeouts than innings pitched. Ground ball up the middle, base hit. So when you see a fellow with more strikeouts than innings pitched, you immediately think he's a hard thrower. But of course, Doug Davis is anything but. So the Dodgers now with 7 hits to go with their run. Matt Kemp, single to center, struck out. 1 for 2. He has worn Davis out in the past. Slow curveball, 0-1. That was 70 miles an hour. I would think to big leaguers, a 70-mile-an-hour curveball looks like a basketball. Fastball or thereabouts. 1-1. That fastball was clocked at 81. One ball and 1 strike. Another one, and on the inside corner, 1-2, and that one 83. That looked like a slider from up here, and that's what it is. 77 miles an hour. 1-2 the count. 4-2 in favor of Milwaukee. 1 out. Ethier at first. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. James Loney waiting on deck. Andre held on by Prince Fielder. Tomorrow night, Dave Bush, John Eli, Dodgers and Brewers, and then Colorado will be here starting Friday night. There you can see John Eli just to the left of Blake DeWitt. Two and two the count. Alongside of Eli was on his left was Charlie Hager, and Hager will be pitching Saturday. So there's a glimpse of the present and the future. Eli and Hager. Slow curveball hit to Escobar. The feed to reach, and they turn it to Fielder, who does a good stretch. And the Dodgers are done at the end of 5, 4-2 Brewers. They hit 7 home runs. The Cubs hit 2, and the Dodgers won it 14-12. And then in 2002, the Dodgers hit 8 home runs against Milwaukee. Let's go back to this one. In that game in Milwaukee where the Dodgers hit the 8 home runs, Sean Green hit 4 of them. High fly ball down the left field line. Johnson to the track makes the catch. Boy, that went a long way off the bat of Jim Edmonds. One away.
Shortstop number 21, Alcides Escobar.
Nice play by Reed. Slicing fly ball. He had to go a long way with a left-hand hitter up there. One away. Big play for Reed Johnson. Now the batter, Alcides Escobar. Tripled and was hit by a pitch. Escobar just starting out, hitting .256. Shows bunt. He's 6'1" and about 175 pounds. He was signed when he was 16 by the Brewers for a $33,000 bonus. Last year, interestingly enough, he hit .304 in 38 games, but when they looked in at it, it was amazing. He hit .375 on ground balls. To hit .375 on ground balls consistently is almost impossible. This time a fly ball right into the glove of Matt Kemp. 2 down. Remember, we posed the trivia question a little while ago about the fact Prince Fielder set a Brewers record, 141 ribbies last year. Who holds the Dodger record for RBIs in 1 year? And the answer, Tommy Davis. In 1962, Tommy had 153 runs batted in. Hard ground foul. 0-1 the count to Kataris. George back up to the plate. 4 runs, 6 hits for the Brewers, 2 runs, 7 hits for the Dodgers. Last night, Greg Zaun had a huge night. The veteran catcher for the Brewers was hit by a pitch, had a single, a double, and a home run. Last time up, in pursuit of a possible cycle, Greg hit a ground ball to James Loney. That's just over the bag and down the line. So he missed the first time, but he makes it the second, and he'll hold on at second base with a long double. So what becomes a big play in the inning was that running catch by Reed Johnson. So Kataris doubles down into the right field corner. So George talking to Tim Tashida, the second base umpire. That ground ball turned Tim Timmons around. The first base umpire, in trying to get out of the way of the ball, had a difficult position in order to call it. That's a strike to Davis. Yeah, Tim looked like he was on a turntable doing a 360 on the line. First making sure the ball was fair, and then trying to indicate it was fair. 1-1. Davis has never been much of a hitter. Watch the umpire. He's on the line, turns around, all the way around, and then gestures fair. Good call by Tim. 1-1 to Doug Davis. Fastball, and boy, he got a little something on that one. Yeah, that was 95. Even up here, you could tell that Billingsley let that thing fly. 1-2. Davis, not much of a hitter. One year, he hit .016. He had 1 hit in 65 at bats. But it's the old story. He has a bat in his hand, so you never know. 4-2 Brewers. 6th inning, 2 out. Kataris, the catcher, at second base. Give him the fastball. That's that. So Billingsley blows him away. They leave Kataris, but the big play was made by Reed Johnson in left field. And it's still 4-2 Milwaukee. Back towards the wall on a ball hit by Casey McGee, and reaches up just in time to take away an extra base hit. As it was, the Brewers scored 4, and they might have scored a lot more. With the Brewers leading 4-2, it's interesting to compare the two pitchers, and they are as different as left from right. Case in point, take Doug Davis. He's had 9 ground ball outs tonight. Only Reed Johnson has the only 2 fly ball outs against him. Then look at Billingsley. He's had 9 fly ball outs. Davis has made 83 pitches, and Billingsley has made 90. So one throws very hard, hitting 95 on the gun, and the other gives you a little of this and a little of that. And it'll be Loney, Blake, and Belliard, bottom of the 6th inning. Loney singled to left to drive in a run, hit back to the box last time up. And ball 1. For Davis, he's had 1 game this year where he survived 6 innings and got into the 7th. Fastball, 2-0. That was against the Chicago Cubs back on the 24th of April. He allowed only 2 earned runs in that game, but the final score was 5-1 Chicago. He's had 3 games where he's in the 4th inning. And now tonight, fighting Loney here, opening up the 6th with a curveball for a strike, and the count 2-1. Loney, Blake, Belliard, if anybody gets on, Carroll. And ball 3. Dodgers struggling against left-handers, but they figure to improve. We gave you the report earlier. The Dodgers expect Manny Ramirez to play Saturday against Colorado, and Joe will certainly like to have his bat back in the lineup. 3-1. And ball 4. For Davis, that would be his first walk. He's hit a batter. Ken Maka, who had some games up there as skipper in Oakland, now at the helm for Milwaukee. With that walk, that immediately spells trouble, so Carlos Villanueva, a right-hander, will get up in the Brewer bullpen. Meanwhile, Rick Peterson, the new pitching coach. Remember, Mike Maddox was the pitching coach for the Brewers, Greg's brother. And Nolan Ryan absolutely thought that Mike Maddox was the best pitching coach in the world, and he got him to come down to Texas. So Rick Peterson got the job. Rick's the son of Harding Peterson, who was a general manager for the Pittsburgh Pirates and the New York Yankees. This is Rick's first year. All right, we'll see what happens now with Casey Blake. Ball 1. So if Davis has trouble getting the ball down, usually that's a sign of fatigue. Casey, a long look at Boa. 4-2 in favor of the Brewers, each side with 7 hits. Breaking ball strike. 1-1. Little slider that gets the inside corner. One ball, 1 strike. Loney at first, nobody out. Four runs for the Brewers, 2 runs for the Dodgers, bottom of the 6th. And that's way up there. So suddenly all of his pitchers are coming up. That's one reason why they call the bullpen and why they send Peterson out to the mound. First 5 innings by keeping the ball down. That's why he had the 9 ground ball outs. 2-1. fly ball into left center. Gomez is there. Carlos for the catch. So that's only the third fly ball for the Dodgers. Reed Johnson had the other two. And the batter now, Ronnie Belliard. Casey Blake shaking his head. And I'm sure a lot of big league hitters feel that way. Go back to the dugout thinking, how in the world does he get me out? I mean, he's throwing fastballs at 81, curves 69, sliders 78. Big rainbow curve in for a strike to Belliard. And that's 70. So put the speed gun away. And watch a veteran left-hander. 0-1 to Belliard. 1-1. Belliard hit back to the box, had the pop fly where Ricky Weeks went out and then bailed out, and the ball dropped for a hit. Ronnie Belisario begins to throw now in the Dodger bullpen. With Belisario throwing in the pen, Carroll on deck, and then if they have anything going, they're thinking about hitting for Billingsley. Chad still trying to get over, I'm sure, taking that lick in the back of the leg off the bat of Prince Fielder. 2-1. And bounced in the dirt, and there goes Loney, the throw, and the tag not in time. So we'll wait on the scoring on that, but the Dodgers now have Loney at second. Looked like the pitch hit the dirt about 3 feet in front of home plate. So automatically that would be a wild pitch. Weeks thought that he had Loney. Take another look at that. Ball is there, and the tag looks like it got him before his left hand was on the bag. But the closest man to the play was Tim Tschida, who said safe, and there was no real argument. So wild pitch puts Loney at second with 1 out. Belliard trying to pick him up. Three and 2 the count. Four 2 Brewers. Loney at second, 1 out. 3 and 2 to Ronnie Belliard. Jamie Carroll on deck. So this figures to be a very important pitch for Doug Davis. Breaking ball, and he missed. So with 2 walks in the inning, we'll see now whether Ken Maka is going to go and get him. And it would look like he's heading out there with a hook. So for 5 innings, Davis had hit a batter but no walks. And now here in the 6th, 2 walks, including a wild pitch. He's lost his control, and we'll be back. up in the air. In other words, he can win, or all of his work could go down the drain, and he has nothing to do with it because the runners at first and second, should they score, would tie it up, and he'd be finished. So they give the ball to Carlos Villanueva. Villanueva, 6'3", 215. He will be 27 late in November. He's from Santiago in the Dominican. He was originally signed by the Giants but never made it. Came up briefly in 07, again in 08, and again in 09. The runners at first and second, one out. Jamie Carroll, the batter, and Chad Billingsley on deck. Carroll has struck out, hit into a force play. Way off the plate, ball one. Carroll is 0 for 4 in the pass against Villanueva. Villanueva signed in January rather than go to arbitration. 1 ball and no strikes. Fastball in there. He's got a good fastball, curveball, slider, and changeup. Randy Wolf listening to Doug Davis. Doug very frustrated, and of course Randy, being a thorough professional and experienced, knows exactly what he's going through. 1-1. Breaking ball flared to right. Coming up to make the catch easily is Jim Edmonds, and then he runs it back to the infield. So Carroll a fly ball to right, and that will do it for Chad Billingsley. Garrett Anderson is going to come up and bat for Chad. So for Chad Billingsley, he had a very rocky first inning, gave up 4 runs and 5 hits, and then really settled down and pitched very well. But unfortunately, that 4, he's not been able to get out from under. So Anderson trying to extend the inning, and now Rick Peterson is going out to talk to Villanueva to make sure that he knows how they want to pitch Anderson. So Garrett waiting at the plate. Check and see if he's ever faced Villanueva. The answer is yes. He's had 2 previous at-bats against Villanueva, and he would be 0 for 2. So Garrett, tough role after playing all the time. Now a pinch hitter. Had a magnificent career, as you know, with the Angels from 94 through 08. Then last year played with the Braves. With the Braves, he had 268. And he still has some sock left. 13 home runs last year, 15 the year before. Of course, that doesn't compare to, let's say, 2000, when he had 35 home runs, or the year he had 123 runs batted in. But here he is with Loney and Belliard out there, and looks at a strike. 0-1. Garrett will be 38 the end of June. Born here in Los Angeles. And 1 ball and 1 strike. For Garrett Anderson, he had a very tough life in the early going. He moved 11 times as a small child here in Los Angeles. And probably bangs it to center, base hit. So here comes Loney. He will score. And that makes it Brewers 4, Dodgers 3 as Garrett Anderson delivers. So for Doug Davis, he still has a chance to win the game, but a long way to go. So Anderson, line drive single, run batted in. Loney scores without a play. Belliard stopping at second. And the batter with 2 out will be Reed Johnson. So Loney brings it in. 4-3 in favor of the Brewers. Johnson, 2 fly balls to center, grounded out. All those at bats are against Doug Davis. Hard breaking ball, 0-1. A curveball at 79. Last year, left-handers hit .257 with 7 home runs against Villanueva. Right-handers hit .278 with 6 home runs. 4-3 Brewers, bottom of the 6th. So Billingsley hoping to at least get even. Davis hoping to hold on and get a win. Fastball hit in the air down the right field line. Coming over in the corner is the Gold Glove, Jim Edmonds, to put it away. So the Dodgers scramble for 1. Davis still has a shot at a win, and the Brewers lead 4-3. To the Hyundai keys to the game, the very first inning. Fastball to Ricky Weeks, base hit. Breaking ball to Gomez, base hit. Breaking ball to Braun, base hit. Fastball to Fielder, a single to left, good play by Johnson, and the run started to come over. Escobar later on hit a triple on a pitch to Edmonds. As he strikes out, it was a pass ball, and the run scored. And then Escobar hits one into the gap in right center. That went for a triple, but he did not score. Fielder did, and the Brewers had a big fourth. After that, Billingsley really settled down and pitched well. It's just a question of whether is the barn door locked and the horse gone or not. 4-3 Brewers, 7th inning. Ronald Belisario will be pitching to Ricky Weeks. And ball 1. Belisario is now pitching the way he did last year. Took him a little while because he was late coming to spring training, remember. He was reinstated April the 21st. Fastball strike at the knees. Last year, Belisario's earned run average was 2. 1-1 to Weeks. On the outside corner for a strike. Weeks hitting .255, 4 home runs, 14 runs batted in. Led off the game with a single to left. Since then has flied to right and walked. 1-2. And pops it foul, out of play. A 93-mile-an-hour fastball. So Ronald Belisario, the big boy, trying to get some outs now and hope that the Dodger hitters can come back. He's 6'2", listed as at least 240, from Maracay in Venezuela. 1-2. Fastball, chopper to Blake. Will throw, and Loney unable to backhand it. So Weeks is safely aboard on Casey Blake's low throw, and for the Dodgers, that breaks it. The Dodgers had a streak, 6 consecutive games without an error, and that bounce throw going for the error, and the first Dodger error to break the streak. So Blake draws the error. Now with Weeks aboard, you have Gomez, Braun, and Fielder coming up. That's foul back. 0-1 to count. Gomez, with a couple of bunt singles this year, is 1 for 3 tonight. On deck, Ryan Braun. A little high, 1 ball and 1 strike. 4 runs, 7 hits for the Brewers, 3 runs, 8 hits for the Dodgers. Belisario faced only 1 Brewer last year, Jody Garrett, and he gave up a hit to Jody. Weeks off the bag at first. 1 ball and 1 strike to count to Carlos Gomez. Bunts foul, 1-2. Ken Maka at the wheels, has the bunt down for a couple of pitches. We'll see if he takes it off or not. By the way, that error by Casey Blake, as we told you, broke the Dodger errorless streak to 6 games. Last year, their longest was 8 without an error. 1-2. Full swing, a roller to Blake. Casey's plays to first. So they wanted Gomez to get his man over, and one way or another, he moves Weeks to second base. Cost him a time at bat, however. And now Braun and Fielder back to back, so that'll be quite a challenge for Belisario. Ryan Braun singled his first at bat, scored on a pass ball, fly to center, and then last time up really hit one right on the screws, but hit a line drive right at Matt Kemp. So Ryan is 1 for 3, hitting .355. 5 home runs, 23 runs batted in. Oh, and 1. You know, we mentioned earlier one of the surprising things about Ryan Braun is the fact that he runs the bases very well. He is 6 for 6 in stolen bases and has stolen third base 3 times. But that's no surprise. Last year, he stole third base 9 times. 0-1. One ball, 1 strike. all the hitters have some kind of a mechanism to pull the trigger. For Ryan Braun, it's his front foot. He settles the back foot, and then the front foot, he'll get up on his toe and stay up there that way for a while. There he goes. 1-1. 1-2. Waiting his turn on deck, Prince Fielder. That was a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Ricky Weeks at second base with 1 out. 4-3 Brewers in the 7th. And got him. A 95-mile-an-hour fastball got the outside corner. That takes care of Braun. Now we'll see what happens with Fielder. Fastball just seemed to come back in and catch that corner. There was also a questionable pitch in the eyes of Ryan Braun, but he didn't say anything. So Braun in the dugout, they're going to take the bat out of Fielder's hands. They are not about to challenge him. He'll get the intentional walk, and they'll go after Casey McGee. So that's ball 2. So Prince Fielder, sore left hand or not, he's getting his 14th walk. And there's ball 4. So you have Fielder at first, Weeks at second. The two kids who grew up together when they were about 11 years old playing ball. They're out here on the lines for Milwaukee. Here's McGee, flied out deep to center. It was a fine catch by Matt Kemp in the first inning. Hit back to the box in the 3rd. Roll down to Ronnie Belliard in the 5th. So McGee hitting .295, 5 home runs, 21 runs batted in. Brewers lead 4-3. We're in the 7th inning. Doug Davis did a good job into the 6th inning. All of a sudden, the ball kept coming up on him. He walked 2, and they had to hook him. 0-1 the count to Casey McGee. Fastball hit down to Carroll. The quick feed to Belliard. So there was an error and a walk, 2 left. And at the end of 6.5 innings, 4-3 Brewers. Now the crowd is asked to join in the singing of God Bless America, and then take me out to the ball game. Dodgers picked up one more in the sixth. So now, as we go to the bottom of the seventh inning, big Todd Coffey comes out of the bullpen. We saw Coffey come in last night and pitch the ninth inning and set the Dodgers down 1-2-3. Todd is 6'5" and 240, but when he was signed with the Cincinnati Reds back in 1998, he was 17 years old and he weighed 305 pounds. But he was so determined to be a big league pitcher that he took off over 60 pounds, and here he is. Maybe that number 60 is telling us something, too, about the poundage. Russell Martin is the hitter and greets him with a line drive base hit into left field. Braun cuts it off, and Russell will hold on with the leadoff single. Celebrating his fourth year in the big leagues tonight, Martin goes 2 for 4. The one thing the Dodgers have not been able to do tonight is get the leadoff man aboard in 7 innings. They had Loney walk in the 6th inning, and he scored. And now they get the leadoff man again here in the 7th, with Ethier, Kemp, and Loney coming up against Todd Coffey. Andre Ethier against Davis, hit into a force play, was hit by a pitch, single to center. And that's going to go all the way to the backstop, and the tying runs at second base on a single and a wild pitch. So for Ken Maka, he saw that 4-0 lead disappear. That would be the 3rd wild pitch by Todd Coffey this year. So Coffey is making his manager nervous and edgy. Not to mention what he's doing to Doug Davis back in the Milwaukee clubhouse. So Ethier with a 1-ball, no strike count, trying to get Martin home to tie up the game. 1-0. Ball 2. Ethier 1 for 3 in the past against Coffey. Todd Coffey came up with the Reds in 05, with him in 05, 6, 7, and 8, and then in the middle of 08 came to the Brewers. 2-0. And ball 3. How did Coffey run off that weight? Well, among other things, he'd run 20 minutes before breakfast. He'd do 40 minutes of cardio, run 20 minutes before dinner. And from a 12-minute mile, he got it down to 7.5. That's a strike. And as the timing came down, the weight came off. Todd Coffey, born in North Carolina in Shelby and lives in Forest City. Three and 1. Four runs, 7 hits for the Brewers, 3 runs, 9 hits, and an error for the Dodgers. And off speed and flipped that in nicely. That little wrinkle was 83, a slider. 3-2 the count. Dodgers had 2 walks and scored 1 of them in the 6th inning. Martin, a tying run at second, nobody out. 3-2 to Andre Ethier. Ground foul. So Andre is still there. Waiting on deck, Matt Kemp. 3-2. Fastball away, and he gets Ethier. The fastball, by the way, 95 miles an hour. So now Matt Kemp coming up. See that ball run away. That's more important than anything, the movement on it. Todd Coffey was released by the Reds 2 years ago on his birthday. And without going into great detail, Coffey noted that the Reds pitching coach, Dick Pohl, was not a fan of Coffey's favorite pitch, kind of a sinking fastball. Interesting, in a moment, tell you why. Breaking ball away. The Reds wanted to go with a four-seamer away, and he had been throwing sinkers. Well, you just saw his seamer away to Andre Ethier. One ball and no strikes. Fastball, 1-1. Interesting. Players will do that, and it's an insight into Todd Coffey, whom they say has a very boyish quality about him. When he signed a contract back in December of '08, he insisted that the contract, which had 5 figures, he wanted the 6th figure with an extra $2. So he got a contract for $800,000 plus $2. And they said, why the $2? He said, I just wanted an even number other than 0. Okay. Off speed, got that in there nicely. 1-2 the count. That's that slider, but it drops way down from 95-mile-an-hour fastball. He has a splitter as well to go with the fastball and slider. One and two. And down goes Kemp. Another slider. So after giving up the base hit to Martin, he struck out Ethier on a fastball that just seemed to run away. And there's the slider to Matt Kemp. So the batter now is James Loney. Coffey hollering over, I believe, to Prince Fielder as Loney checks in. Loney single to left to drive in a run, hit back to the box, walked, scored a run, and that's what it was. I think he was hollering to the bench. It looked like he was saying Mac. Maybe he was hollering to Macca. Willie Randolph is there with Ken. So Loney gets the intentional pass, and in a moment, Casey Blake, who is single to center to drive in a run, struck out and flied to center. Loney was 1 for 2 in the past against Coffey, and Blake 0 for 2. So Casey waiting. Blake did not face Coffey last night. He faced Parra. So 4-3 Brewers, bottom of the 7th, 2 out, tying run at second base. A go ahead at first now with Loney. And Rick Peterson is going out now to talk to Coffey. So they're putting their heads together with Casey Blake coming up. Peterson, first-year coach with Milwaukee. And Casey waiting. Blake 1 for 3, also committed an error. Now has a chance to tie up the ball game. His single in the first inning brought Matt Kemp home from second base. So Casey checking in a big at-bat, bottom of the 7th inning. Casey batting .283 against right-handers, only .208 against left-handers. Fastball for a strike. On the night, the Dodgers are 3 for 9 with runners in scoring position. All 3 of the Dodger hits have come with 2 outs. Loney's RBI single, Blake's RBI single, and Garrett Anderson is a pinch hitter, his RBI single in the 6th inning. So there's 2 out now. 1-1. 4-3 Brewers. They scored 4 in the 1st inning. Dodgers came back with 2. Dodgers added 1 in the 6th. And Martin is the tying run at second base. Loney at first, 2 away. Inside, outside, and a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Ronnie Belliard on deck. Todd Coffey. And there go the runners on a ground ball to short. Up with it is Escobar to get him. So the Dodgers try to play hit and run, but Blake grounds to short. The Dodgers lead 2, and at the end of 7, 4-3 Brewers. Into the top of the 1st inning. Dodgers try to whittle away 2 in the 1st, 1 in the 6th, only to leave 2 men in the 7th inning. So Ronald Belisario, who came in to pitch the 7th inning, will now go to work in the 8th. Belisario had to get out of a 2-on situation in the 7th inning, and he got Casey McGee to hit into a force play. So now Jim Edmonds struck out, hit back to the box, and then a long fly ball to left. Reed Johnson made a fine running catch on the track right near the box seats in left field. Jim having a little conversation with Russell Martin, and now the veteran checks in. Edmonds batting .283. And ball 1. 8 gold gloves, a marvelous all-around ball player, and it made sense for the Brewers to pick him up. Ball 2. Edmonds, 39 years old. keeps himself in good shape. 6'1", about 215. Back in 1988, the Angels drafted him, that great year that saw the Dodgers go all the way and win the World Series. Two balls and one strike. And ball three. A couple of years ago, when Edmonds played for the Cardinals, he opened up a restaurant downtown. The name of the restaurant is the number he's wearing on his uniform. The name of the restaurant, 15. And now Alcides Escobar coming up. Back in the first inning, the stringy shortstop came up and blistered a ball from Chad Billingsley, a fastball. He drove it to the gap in right center between Kemp and Ethier, driving infielder, and for Escobar, he had a stand-up triple. It was his fourth triple of the year. He also has 3 doubles. The bunt is down, and the play in time to first. So the sacrifice works. Edmonds is now at second, and the batter will be George Kataris, the catcher. Big grin on Escobar's face. Let's see how many sacrifices he has this year. That's why he's smiling. That's his first one. So leading 4-3. Brewers have a runner at second and their catcher the hitter, and then they'll go to the bench. Craig Counsell is out on deck. One of our favorite players. Wonderful guy and a fine ball player still. 1 ball and no strikes. And ball 2. Kataris struck out, walked, and doubled to right in the 6th inning. So Edmonds out at second base with 1 out. 2-0. Tomorrow night, Dave Bush, John Eli. 3-0 the count. And ball 4. So 2 on with 1 out. Craig Counsell will be coming up. A reminder, this Mother's Day, give the gift of Dodger baseball with a ticket to my town. Fans receive a free Dodger Town Mother's t-shirt, all-inclusive food options, and $2 from each ticket will be donated to Think Cure. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/mytown or call 866-DODGERS. 2 on, 1 out, and here is Craig Counsell, the pride of South Bend, Indiana. Went to school in Notre Dame. A strike. Craig is 39. Originally signed in 1992. First came up to the Rockies in 95. And a shot into right field. Base hit. They will wave in Edmonds. The throw to the plate is not in time. Edmonds scores standing up, and the Brewers lead 5-3. And on the play, Kataris goes to third, and Counsell is at it again. Craig, who was with the Dodgers very briefly, way back in 1999, comes off the bench and delivers. So it is 5-3 in favor of Milwaukee. Counsell, after all those years, along with Jim Edmonds, a couple of veterans put together to score a run. Meanwhile, Kataris standing at third after the base hit. and the batter will be Ricky Weeks. 5-3 in favor of the Brewers. And now, after waiting a while, Joe Torre up the steps, and Ricky Weeks will probably be seeing Ramon Troncoso with the left-handed George Sherrill alongside of him. We'll wait till Joe makes the absolute signal. Takes the ball from Belisario, who leaves. Down in the bullpen, they're about ready to open up the gate. And you would certainly figure that it would be Ramon Troncoso. And with that, we'll be right back. The 8th inning on the pinch hit single by Craig Counsell. They take a 5-3 lead as we celebrate Cinco de Mayo. It's the Brewers who come up with the 5. The paid attendance tonight, 35,659. So Ramon Troncoso trying to restore order as he comes out to pick up the pieces from Ronald Belisario, who made 31 pitches. Gave up 2 walks and a base hit here in the 8th inning. For Troncoso, his longest stint, he went 2 innings back on April the 25th. He's allowed just 1 earned run over his last 7 appearances. And he'll go to work against the leadoff man, Ricky Weeks, with Craig Counsell at first, George Kataris at third. Weeks, single, fly to right, walk, reached on an error. One out, 5-3 Milwaukee. Check swing for a strike, 0-1. Ricky Weeks, 1 for 3 tonight with the walk, also reached on an error. Weeks 0 for 1 in the past against Troncoso. Check swing foul, 0-2. Ricky Weeks has been very strong with runners in scoring position. Came in hitting in the 250s, but with runners in scoring position, he's hitting 409. When the game started, he was hitting exactly 250. So he's trying to pick up George Kataris from third and advance Counsell from first. Big bouncer, he's done it again. Ground ball single to left. So that cashes in Kataris as Weeks delivers once more. And it's 6-3 in favor of the Brewers. That run is charged to Belisario. So for Ronald Belisario, he gave up 2 runs. Kataris carries it in. Counsell now at second. Weeks at first with his second hit and a run batted in. Here's Carlos Gomez. And ball one. Gomez single to left, hit back to the box, flied to left, grounded to third. The pitcher, of course, delighted with a 3-run lead is Doug Davis, the starter, who came out with 1 out in the 6th inning and now has a comfortable 3-run lead, and he's back in the dugout hoping for his first win of the year. He was 0-3. 1 ball and 1 strike. Roller to short, going back to get it is Carroll. They get the force, and that's all. Good legitimate slide. One second baseman taking out the other. So Ricky takes a double play turn away from Belliard. Craig Counsell now reaches third. And the batter will be Ryan Braun. So up goes Belliard, in goes Weeks. Ryan Braun singled in the first inning to left field. Since then, flied to center, lined out to center, and struck out. So Ryan 1 for 4, batting .352. Runners at the corners with 2 out. 6-3 Milwaukee. Ground ball into right field, base hit. So that scores Counsell. Gomes is going to be trapped between second and third, and the Dodgers going after him. It will be Casey Blake who can't get him. So Carlos Gomez able to get to second base, but he's also shaken up on the play in a foot race with Casey Blake. And Gomez looks like he hurt his right wrist. Yep. In doing that belly whopper back to the bag, he hurt himself. So here comes the rundown. Blake throws to Belliard, and then Belliard keeps going, and now it's a foot race. And Gomez just beats Blake. But you can see he was dragging his wrist, almost fell down, and then gets back after the rundown. Of course, there was nobody covering at second base. And by the time Ethier, the right fielder, got in there, Carlos Gomez was safely into second. So Braun gets himself a base hit to right field, his second hit and a run batted in. Counsell carries the run over, and then Gomez survives the run down to second base. So the Dodger bullpen has given it up here, and Gomez is okay. He'll stay in, but he still hurt that right wrist. Here's that diving fall, whatever, almost a stumble, hand to hand, and he makes it, but he paid a little price. So Prince Fielder will be coming up in a minute. So in the inning, 2 walks, 2 singles, and a force play. 3 runs are over, and the Brewers lead 7-3. And now it looks like, after holding his wrist, what really bothers him is the shoulder. He might have hyperextended it a little bit when he made that awkward lunge for second base. So here is Fielder, single, grounded out, single, then was walked intentionally. There's ball 1. 7 runs, 10 hits for the Brewers, 3 runs, 9 hits for the Dodgers. The 3 runs in the inning all belong to Ronald Belisario. Breaking ball, ball 2, 2-0. So 4 runs charged to Billingsley way back in the first inning. 3 charged to Belisario. Troncoso has now got 2 men on his responsibility. 2-0. And 3-0. So 1 pitch away from loading him up, and Casey McGee on deck. Troncoso, who had done so well, as had Belisario, and both men have troubles tonight. There's ball 4, and the bases are loaded. So Fielder goes to first. Braun advances to second. Gomez to third. Still 2 out. And here's McGee. McGee fly deep to center, hit back to the box, grounded out, hit into a force play. So he's had 4 at bats, 3 of them with men on base, and he has failed to produce. So another opportunity for him with the bases loaded. And ball 1. Troncoso with a record of 1-1 in his 17th game. So the Dodgers are playing their 27th game, and he's been in 17 of them. So Rick Honeycutt trying to settle him down a little bit. In case you wonder about Casey McGee, he has 2 career grand slams, and the last one Casey hit this year, April the 26th, against the Pittsburgh Pirates. So 1 ball and no strikes. You have Carlos Gomez at third. Standing at second is Ryan Braun. Over at first is Prince Fielder. 2 outs, 7-3 Brewers in the 8th inning. And ball 2. So Troncoso came in to pitch to Ricky Weeks, gave up a single to left. Gomez into a force play. Braun a single to right. And now Fielder the walk. And that's fouled away. 2-1 the count to Casey McGee. Casey out of Santa Cruz, went to school at Fresno State. Fastball, and that's looped into right center field for a base hit. So 2 more runs will score. That'll make it 9-3 Brewers, and the beat continues. So McGee, who had ample opportunities, finally comes a base hit and 2 runs batted in. Cashing in Gomez and Braun. Just found it in the dead man's area of right center field. Ethier cutting the ball off. So McGee gets the base hit, and Jim Edmonds, who began the inning with a walk, came around to score, is now up for his second at bat in the 8th inning. Fouled away. 9 runs, 11 hits for the Brewers. 3 runs, 9 hits for the Dodgers. So that means the Brewers so far in this series have scored 20 runs on 26 hits last night and tonight. Dodger pitching, at least for the last couple of days, in shambles, and now the bullpen gets worn out a bit. 1-1 the count. Edmonds has struck out, hit back to the box, fly deep to Reed Johnson, and Ronald And a foul ball off third, out of play. Edmonds drops that left shoulder a lot, kind of uppercuts the ball. So you see a lot of towering foul balls and fly balls from Jim. Since he is a fly ball hitter, he's only grounded into one double play. 1-2 the count. Edmonds, the 10th man to come to the plate in a 5-run inning. Got a little bit of that. Still 1-2. So Fielder at second, McGee at first, 5 runs in, and the Brewers have broken open a very tough game that was 4-3. John Eli will pitch tomorrow night against David Bush. Here's a fly ball to left. Johnson has to go back to get it. Away and makes the catch. Reed Johnson has made 2 wonderful catches out there in left field, taking base hits away from a guy with 8 Gold Gloves, Jim Edmonds. It's 9-3 Brewers. Lead the Dodgers 9-3 as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Ronnie Belliard followed by Jamie Carroll, and then we'll see about Troncoso or a hitter. LaTroy Hawkins comes out of the Milwaukee bullpen, and the Hawk now will try to get some outs. LaTroy Hawkins has been around a while, around indeed. 15 years in the major leagues. He was born in Gary, Indiana. LaTroy is 6'5", 215. He'll be 38 come December and was originally signed by the Minnesota Twins back in 1991. Teammates always called him Satch, as in Satchel Paige. LaTroy said he doesn't know much about the legendary pitcher. He said he's tall, black, skinny, big feet, just like me. 1-0. That's a strike. Hawkins with the Twins from 97, actually 95, through 03. Cubs, Giants, Orioles, Rockies, Yankees. Last 2 years with the Astros. At 6'5", he was a very good basketball player. Meanwhile, Belliard, a line drive single to right, opening up batters in the 8th inning. So Belliard 2 for 3 tonight, plus a walk. And the batter, Jamie Carroll. For the Dodgers, it's been Billingsley, Belisario, and Troncoso. For the Brewers, Davis, Villanueva, Coffey, and now Hawkins. Jamie Carroll is 0 for 3. Out on deck, Xavier Paul to bat for Troncoso. Ball 1. Belliard at first, not figuring. Down by 6 in the 8th inning. 2-0 the count. Dodgers trailing by 6. The largest comeback in LA Dodger history is 6 runs. They've done that numerous times. Most recently, they've done it back in 2005 in Milwaukee. And ball 3. LaTroy Hawkins. Been with a lot of ball clubs. He's had an incredible career. Fastball, and he missed. So here in the 8th inning, LaTroy Hawkins gives up a base hit followed by a walk. You know, voting is open for the 2010 All-Star Game. You can send your favorite Dodger to this year's Midsummer Classic by voting up to 25 times at Dodgers.com. You could win tickets to an Under the Lights event later this season. So vote today anytime you have the chance at Dodgers.com/vote. So Xavier Paul, left-hand hitter, coming off the bench to hit for Troncoso. Rick Peterson has been a very busy pitching coach tonight. Out there to the mound talking to the Hawks. Gary, Indiana. Remember that great song from the Music Man? One of the great fighters in professional boxing. Fought Rocky Graziano several times. He went out of Gary, Indiana by the name of Tony Zale. Boy, could he fight. So the Dodgers 2 on, nobody out, and Xavier Paul checking in, hitting .238. And then you have the leadoff man, Reed Johnson. And a strike. LaTroy Hawkins hides the ball with both hands. He'll hide it behind his right hip. You'll see a pitcher hide the ball behind, let's say, his right hip while just holding the ball in one hand. He hides it on the hip. And that's a drive to right, but Edmonds is there to handle it, and the runners have nowhere to go. So Xavier Paul, a fly ball to right. 1 out, and Reed Johnson, who is 0 for 4 with the bat, but he's made a couple of wonderful plays defensively in left field. Reed Johnson at the plate. He's made a couple of wonderful catches on balls hit by Jim Edmonds. Reed 3 fly balls and grounded out. And a strike. One out, 8th inning, 9-3 in favor of the Brewers, who took 2 out of 3 here at Dodger Stadium last year. Fastball, 0-2. Down south, the Rockies and the Padres, they're 5-5, and they're now in the top of the 10th inning. 0-2 the count to Reed Johnson. And that's fouled away. Way back in 1991, LaTroy Hawkins was in high school, and he was elected the prom king and the best male athlete. He went to Westside High School in Gary. So it was no surprise to his classmates when he signed with the Twins that year and became a pro. 1991 to 2010. That is quite a run. 0-2. And a breaking ball drops in. Johnson looks at the curve and now walks away from the plate. Pretty good breaking ball. It's up there and it drops there, and of course Reed thought it was outside. So first and second with nobody out. Now it's first and second with 2 out. And here is Russell Martin, celebrating his 4th year in the big leagues against a pitcher who's been in the big leagues over 15 years. Oh and 1. Boy, there was pretty good movement on that fastball. Not that it was thrown that hard, but boy, did that thing run away. That's why the speed gun isn't that important. They say that fastball was 89, but it wasn't the 89. 0-1. Andre Ethier on deck. High fastball, 1-1. That thing he hit 95. Ball 2, 2-1. So an 80-mile-an-hour big over-the-top curveball. 2-1 to Martin. Belliard and Carroll out on the lines with 2 out. 9-3 Milwaukee. Foul back, fastball. 2-2. Nice easy 90-mile-an-hour Swifty. So the deuces are wild in a rather wild game. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 on. But the Dodgers unable to recover for the moment, at least, on the Brewers, who scored 4 in the first and 5 in the 8th. Dodgers scored 2 in the first, 1 in the 6th. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Ball 3. Contreras indicating 2 down to everybody on the infield. Andre Ethier waiting on deck. So the runners will go with 2 out. Belliard from second, Carroll from first on a 3-2 pitch to Russell Martin. Got him. Martin acting like there was something fishy about the ball. Wow, he's really confused, and it's still 9-3 Brewers. Why the Dodgers are so puzzled, it would be Russell Martin. Take 3-2, 2 out. He swings and misses. But now what? He looks at the umpire, then he acts like, wait a minute, where'd everybody go? The plate umpire's confused, doesn't say anything. Martin starts walking away, looks back again as if somebody did him wrong. So a rather strange at-bat. And down goes Russell Martin. And still talking to the plate umpire. What was that last pitch? And Marquez saying, well, just a pitch. Meanwhile, Xavier Paul, who flied out to right field, stays in the game in left field. So Reed Johnson comes out, and you can put George Sherrill in the leadoff spot. So Xavier Paul in left field. Meanwhile, it's 9-3 Brewers. We're in the 9th inning, and Alcides Escobar will lead it off. Ball 1. Escobar tripled, hit by a pitch, fly to center, sacrifice. So 1 for 2. Two and 0 the count. Dodgers with Billingsley, Belisario, Troncoso, and now Sherrill. Ball 3. Billingsley charged with 4 runs, Belisario 3, Troncoso 2, but Billingsley went out losing and now figures to be the losing pitcher. Davis, Villanueva, Coffey, and Hawkins. Davis went out leading 4-3, and he stands to be the winning pitcher. And ball 4 to Escobar. So the Dodger bullpen, Belisario, Troncoso had their share of problems. Now George walks his first hitter. George Kataris struck out and walked, doubled and walked, so the catcher is 1 for 2. Corey Hart comes out on deck. He would bat for Hawkins. 0-1 the count to George Kataris. Slow breaking ball off the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. One and 1. That's a strike. 9 runs, 11 hits for Milwaukee. 3 runs, 10 hits. 1 error for the Dodgers, snapping their 6-game errorless streak. Good breaking ball. So that'll do it for Kataris. 1 out. And now Corey Hart coming up to hit for LaTroy Hawkins. Corey Hart started in last night's game. He had a walk and a single, hit into a double play, flied to right, hit into a force play, hitting .257. All 1. Hart was aboard last night when Greg Zaun hit a home run. And lifts one foul, out of play. Corey Hart is a big fella. He is 6'6", 215 pounds. 2 years ago, he had a great year, 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases, and a 20-game hitting streak. One and 1. Ball 2, 2-1. Corey Hart, signed by the Brewers 10 years ago. 3 years ago, had 24 home runs off speed for a strike. 2 years ago, he had 91 runs batted in. When the Dodgers bat in the bottom of the ninth, they'll have Andre Ethier, Matt Kemp, and James Loney. Breaking ball, stroked foul down the line. 2-2 the count. Corey out of Bowling Green, Kentucky. Lives over in Arizona. Up there now with Escobar at first. 1 out. Fastball missed. Ball 3. Little foul ball. Still 3-2 the count. Dave Bush, John Eli tomorrow night. Final game of the 3-game series. Dodgers trying to salvage one unless they can come up with a 9th inning explosion tonight. Remember, the biggest comeback the Dodgers have is down by 6. The last time they did it was against Milwaukee. Drive to left field, down in the corner, one hopper, and up into the stands for a ground rule double. Escobar will stop at third. So Milwaukee with runners at second and third and 1 out. Big smile on Corey Hart's face. And Ricky Weeks will be coming up. So second and third, 1 away. So now Sherrill is in a jam. Same troubles that Belisario had and Troncoso. Hart talking to Tim Tashida, the second base umpire. Here are the Dodgers down by 6, and they have to bring the infield up. Ground ball, base hit. Once you bring the infield up, it makes the hitter so much better. Xavier Paul's throw to the plate gets away from Martin, but there was no advance. Weeks was happy enough to stop at first and talk to his coach, Ed Cedar. So that makes it 11-3 in favor of the Brewers. So Sherrill comes in, gives up a walk, a double, and a single, and 2 more runs. And now Jody Garrett will come up and bat. Garrett hitting for Gomez. Remember, Gomez hurt his shoulder, I believe, in that headfirst dive. So Jody Garrett hits for him and will stay in the game. Strike. What they can easily do is move Edmonds to center. Put Hart in right field. Off the plate. 1-1. So it's been a brutal night for the Dodger bullpen. Dodger bullpen has given up 7 runs. 1-2 the count. 11-3. That means Milwaukee comes in here and they've scored 22 runs in 2 games. 11 last night, 11 tonight. Not quite as bad as what they did to Pittsburgh, beating Pittsburgh among other games 20-0. Ground ball, up with it, dropped by Blake, picks it up, no play. So Casey going wide to his left, unable to make the play. It will be an error charged to Blake, and that would be his 2nd error tonight. So Jody Garrett reaches, and that'll bring up Ryan Braun. Still only 1 out. That was Kataris who struck out. Then a walk, a double, a single, and now an error. Brewers scored 4 in the first, 5 in the 8th, and they have 2 so far. Line drive at Blake, hesitates, then goes to second. They get the double play, and mercifully, the inning is over. So Ryan Braun, twice crushed the ball, winds up with 2 hits, and it's 11-3 Brewers. Last night when they lost 11-6, but here they are, second night of the series, down 11-3, and in the bottom of the 9th inning, pitching for Milwaukee will be Jeff Suppan, who has really been struggling, but then again, so was the starter, Doug Davis. For Suppan, his numbers have been going downhill, and he will try to see if he can turn it around. Remember, Doug Davis had an ERA of 8.8. Suppan has an ERA of 8.1. So Andre Ethier will lead it off for the Dodgers. 11-3 Brewers in the 9th. And a strike. Suppan, his last game he was in San Diego and pitched 4 innings in relief. That's his longest stint in his career. Ethier, 1 for 3, a single, and he was also hit by a pitch. Prior to this year, Jeff Suppan had not pitched in relief since 2003. Two and 1 the count. And a base hit into right field for Ethier. So Andre comes up with his second hit. And the batter will be Matt Kemp. Jeff Suppan is a local boy coming back home. He was born in Oklahoma City, but he grew up in these parts and graduated from Crespi High School, Crespi Carmelite High School over in the Valley. And ball 1. Matt Kemp, single to center, struck out twice, hit into a double play. That's a strike. 1 and 1. Down south, the Rockies and the Padres have moved to the 11th inning in a 5-5 tie. One and 2. Suppan originally signed back with the Red Sox, 93. Came up briefly with Boston in '95. Fouled away. Then he kind of bounced around from Boston to Arizona. Then he had about 5 years with Kansas City, then Pittsburgh, back to Boston, then 3 years with St. Louis. He's had 3 years with Milwaukee, so he's had a long career. Suppan, 35 years old, and Kent goes down for the third time on strikes. 1 for 5, 1 out in the ninth, and James Loney the batter. James Loney single to left, hit back to the box, walked, scored a run, and was walked intentionally. So James 1 for 2. One out. They're not holding Eep here. No reason to hold him. It's 11-3 Milwaukee. Ball 1. Dave Bush, John Eli tomorrow night. Dodgers try to salvage 1 of 3, and the Brewers bidding for a sweep. And that's line to center for a base hit. Up with it is Edmonds to get it back in. And the batter will be Casey Blake. So first and second, 1 out. Here's Blake with Belliard to follow. Casey single to center to drive in a run. Struck out, flied out, grounded out. And I'm sure one of the rare games in his career where he's committed 2 errors. Ground ball to short. Escobar to reach back to fielder. And just like that, that's the ball game.